Hello, hello. What is going on? It is me, Jay Renard, and we are here with Unboxing Day. Let's get to it, shall we? So, got a lot going on this month for all things Jay Renard. The one thing I don't have going on this month is a damn blade to open this. But that's okay. God allowed for man to invent scissors, and that is doing the job well enough. Let's hope I didn't damage anything. And I did not. So, of all the things that I got going on, I decided to do two things that are related but almost contradictory. Let's toss this. Smooth. So, I recently purchased a machine that should be arriving in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. But I also decided to bite the bullet and get some better stitching prongs or some stitching chisels. So, of course, I had to go and get some more Sinabroks. For the longest time, I've been using my Sinabroks with the 4mm spacing, and they punch amazing holes, really easy to stitch through, goes through the material really well. But that 4mm spacing is decent / acceptable, but I need to start working on having finer stitches, which means more stitches per inch, which means stitch holes closer together. Those do not look bad at all. However, for the things that I will be hand stitching, because I will definitely still be hand stitching, I needed to get some. Oh wait, that's right. Forgot they come with a little safety seal. Needed to get some things with a closer, with the prongs closer together. All right. So what we've got here, come on. So we've got the punch, spacing, and however many prongs. So highlighted 2mm. Of course it would focus on the wrong thing. There we go. 2mm and 6 prongs. I do not know why I have this need to keep the stickers intact. Call it OCD. Undiagnosed. And of course I did that. Can't win for losing, but hey, it's all good. Come on. There we go. So, these are for, come on. These are for the watches that I'll be making. So I realized that for a lot of the watch bands that I make, the stitching hole, the holes for the buckles were further apart, and so I got them larger and with a greater spacing. So instead of using a template, marking them, and then punching holes individually, punch these as long as they're properly aligned. Come on, focus. As long as they're properly aligned, I have the ideal size opening for the buckles, and the proper spacing for a better fit. And as always from Sinabroks, the spare spare punch opening and the spare, I'm not sure what you would call these, threads, I guess, and the tool for replacing. Hold on. And the pricking iron, with the 1mm spacing. This I am simultaneously looking forward to and not. I've used the material before. This company makes great stuff. They have an amazing reputation. I'm sure that I'm going to get great product, but man, am I going to lament stitching so many openings per inch. I'm not going to enjoy that. I am, however, going to enjoy that I open that properly. So there's that. Come on. Uh, 10% rule, baby. You got to be at least 10% smarter than the thing that you're working with. All right. Absolutely. Now, I will say I am a tad bit upset. I will have to re-verify my order because I very distinctly remember ordering 2 of these and 1 of these. This one for the straights and another one with just 2 prongs for the corners. So I will have to verify what's going on there. However, I am still extremely pleased with what I've got here. Very happy. Hold on. Let me set up a bit of something. All right, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to utilize the both of these on the test piece. All right, so for comparison, what I've normally been using, these bad boys right here, and what I've been using for the closer stitch spacing were these Sewa tools here. Side note, still love them, but honestly, The biggest downfall for these so far as preferred use for closer stitch spacing is that these tines are very, very wide compared to the Sinabroks tines. These things are nice and slim, these things are nice and chunky, and these things are much physically wider than these tines. So there, focus, is your example. So the top row, the Sinabroks, are spaced further apart. The bottom row spaced closer together, but they're significantly wider. So when I use a thinner thread, that thread doesn't fill up those holes there. See if I can do some of this, brighten this up. There we go. So the smaller thread, which is more fitting for closer stitch spacing, doesn't fill up the holes that are left behind from these tines here. And that's when I decided that for the much finer stitching projects that will be done via hand, it will be more of this. So there you have that. So you see this one from the Sewa, again, a great company, literally nothing wrong with it. It's just that for the smaller projects, I'll be using a much thinner thread, and that thread just doesn't go well with that stitch opening. Now, if I used tiger thread 0.6 mil, maybe it would fill this up, but it's just a little bit too wide. And if I used 0.4, it's not filling this up at all. It looks like just dental floss coming through here. It just doesn't work. But the 0.4 and smaller in stitching holes this size works just fine, perfectly almost. So that's why I made the switch. So these ones here, I may be retiring. I'll make the decision by the time I post this video, and I'll have the Instagram post up. So I'll be giving these bad boys away to some individual, if that's in fact how I'm going to do it. So I'll put the determination right there on the screen. Then we'll know if somebody's going to win these, or they'll just sit in my drawer. And so now we're just going to test these out on other pieces, see how they turn out. This is some Horween Dublin. I don't have too much of it left, which saddens me. I love the pull up on the Dublin. It's so good. So when you stitch around it, you have this slightly raised, lighter, discolored look to the piece because of the nature of the hide. You get some of that, and I love that. Focus, there we go. And that with a nice thread, either complementing or contrasting, looks really good. I'm to the point now where I need to be doing and I will be doing much finer stitching when I stitch by hand for these smaller objects. Things like this should have had a smaller stitch spacing. Focus. Come on, there we go. I think this would have looked better with a smaller stitch spacing and a finer thread. Let's give these a quick whirl. Put this back in its home. I like that. It's a nice part of the packaging. Had the tines up against that. So you can see on a watch band, this would be amazing spacing for the buckle, for the closures. Very much close to what's recommended, especially factoring in the actual size of the holes there. This could go further down and a little bit further up to offer more closure spacing, and it's always going to be in line. Also, this function here, or not function, but this aspect of the design, if you would just focus, there we go. These eject the holes punched quite well. So I would say, just if anybody is thinking about getting this and they're going to be using it quite frequently, say maybe to punch openings for thread or something like that, if you're going to be stitching up a project with thicker pieces, make sure that this is facing away from what you're stitching on, because after a while it'll just be kicking out the holes that are punched onto your project. Just something to think about. All right, thank y'all very much for your time and attention. Wish me luck on both endeavors, both with the finer hand stitching and with the machine coming up. That's all I got for now. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'm Jay Renard, and I'm out. Peace.